The massive space station Viridian 7 hung in the darkness like a giant metal flower. Ships from 100 different worlds came and went every day. It was a busy place where aliens traded goods and shared stories. Today, something unusual was about to happen. Captain Sarah Chen sat in her command chair aboard the Indomitable. She looked at the view screen showing the station ahead. Her ship was human-made, built on Earth just 2 years ago. It was humanity's first real attempt at a deep space exploration vessel. "Send our docking request," Chen said to her communications officer. "Request sent, Captain," the young officer replied. They waited, and waited. Chen frowned. Usually stations replied within seconds. 5 minutes passed. Then 10. "That's strange," Chen muttered. "Try again." Before her officer could respond, a voice crackled through the speakers. It sounded nervous, almost afraid. "Human vessel Indomitable, this is Station Commander Zephyros. We grant you permission to dock. Please proceed to Bay 47. Chen noticed something odd in the commander's voice. "Fear? No, that couldn't be right." She looked at her navigation officer. "Bay 47? Isn't that on the far edge of the station?" "Yes, Captain." "It's the most isolated dock they have," Chen shrugged. Maybe they were just being cautious with a new species. Humans had only met the Galactic Council 6 months ago. Everyone was still getting used to each other. As the Indomitable moved closer to the station, Chen watched the view screen carefully. Something weird was happening. Other ships near Bay 47 were leaving. Not just one or two, but all of them. They moved away quickly, finding new places to dock. "Are they avoiding us?" asked Marcus Webb, the chief engineer. He had come up to the bridge to watch their arrival. "Looks like it," Chen said quietly. The Indomitable slid smoothly into Bay 47. The docking clamps locked into place with a heavy thunk. Chen stood up and straightened her uniform. "Marcus, you're with me. Let's go meet our welcoming committee." They walked through the airlock and into the station. The artificial gravity felt slightly lighter than Earth normal. The air smelled strange, like flowers mixed with metal. An alien waited for them in the docking area. It looked like a giant insect, standing on 4 legs with 2 arms folded in front of its body. Its eyes were large and dark. This was Ambassador Krelax, according to the briefing materials Chen had read. "Captain Chen," Krelax said. Its voice came from a translator device on its chest. "Welcome to Viridian 7, I am Ambassador Krelax." "Thank you, Ambassador," Chen replied with a smile. "We're happy to be here. We just need some supplies and then we'll be on our way." Krelax's antenna twitched. It was a nervous gesture, Chen realized. The ambassador was scared of something. Of course, Krelax said quickly. "I will arrange everything. But first I must speak with you about your vessel." "What about it?" Chen asked. "We passed all the council inspections. Everything is up to code." "Yes, technically," Krelax said. The ambassador looked around as if checking that no one else was listening. "But Captain, your vessel—" "It doesn't follow the standard safety protocols that we are accustomed to." Chen was confused. "I don't understand. We have safety systems, emergency backups, everything a ship needs." "That is not what I mean," Krelax said softly. The ambassador's voice became almost a whisper. "Your ships are different, very different. Please just be careful while you're here." Before Chen could ask more questions, Krelax hurried away. Chen and Marcus looked at each other. "That was weird," Marcus said. "Very weird," Chen agreed. They spent the next few hours arranging for supplies. The station workers who dealt with them seemed nervous. They worked quickly and didn't make eye contact. No one wanted to spend time near the human ship. That evening, Chen sat in her quarters reviewing their ship specifications on her computer. She looked at every detail. The engines, the reactor, the hull plating, the life support systems. Everything seemed normal. Everything seemed fine. What had Krelax meant about safety protocols? Her computer beeped. It was a message from Marcus down in engineering. "Captain, I've been checking our systems. Everything is working perfectly. I don't know what these aliens are worried about." Chen was about to reply when another message came through. This one was different. It was an encrypted transmission that her computer intercepted by accident. The encryption was weak, easy to break. Chen knew she shouldn't read it, but her curiosity won. The message was from Krelax to someone on the Galactic Council. "They truly don't understand what they've built. The humans operate their vessels with no awareness of how dangerous they are. Not dangerous to others, but to themselves. They push their technology to limits we abandoned thousands of years ago. Their ship moves like nothing I have ever seen. The power output alone should be impossible. I recommend extreme caution. They are not hostile, but they are reckless beyond measure. Chen read the message 3 times. Dangerous, reckless.
The Indomitable was just a normal ship.
A good ship, sure, but nothing special. She looked out her window at the other vessels docked at the station. They were huge, with thick hulls and dozens of glowing engines. They looked safe and solid and slow. Her ship looked sleek and fast by comparison, built for speed and efficiency. That was the human way. For the first time, Chen wondered if maybe that was the problem. Maybe what humans thought was normal wasn't normal at all to the rest of the galaxy. She sent a message to her crew. Everyone get some rest. We leave at dawn. And from now on, let's pay attention to how the other species react to us. Something tells me we're about to learn something important about ourselves. Outside her window, the stars burned cold and bright. The galaxy was much bigger than Earth, and apparently humanity had brought something to it that no one had seen before. Chen just wished she knew what that something was. 6 weeks earlier, before the Indomitable arrived at Viridian 7, something important happened. Inspector Thal arrived at Earth's orbital shipyard to examine human vessels. This was required before any ship could travel freely through Council space. Thal was a crystalline being, its body made of clear structures that glowed with soft blue light. It had been a safety inspector for 200 years. It had seen thousands of ships from dozens of species. Thal thought this would be a routine inspection. Thal was very wrong. The inspector floated through the airlock of the Indomitable. Chief Engineer Marcus Webb waited inside with a big smile on his face. "Welcome aboard, Inspector Thal," Marcus said cheerfully. "We're excited to show you what we've built." Thal's light flickered, which was how its species nodded. "Let us begin with the propulsion systems." They walked down to the engine room. While Marcus walked, Thal floated along beside him. The engine room was clean and organized. Everything gleamed under bright lights. Marcus pointed proudly at the main engines. "These are our fusion drives. They can push us to 0.7 light speed in about 3 weeks." Thal stopped moving. Its light flickered rapidly, which meant shock. 3 weeks? To 0.7 light speed? "Yeah," Marcus said, still smiling. "Pretty good, right? Our thrust-to-weight ratio is incredible." Thal pulled out a scanning device and ran it over the engines. The numbers that appeared made Thal's light turn from blue to orange, which meant alarm. "This thrust-to-weight ratio," Thal said slowly, "is 4 times higher than any council vessel I have ever inspected." "Really?" Marcus looked pleased. "We worked hard on that. See, we use a contained plasma flow system that—" "These engines," Thal interrupted, "could accelerate this vessel at 15 standard gravities." 15 Gs, yeah. Well, more like 12 in normal operations. 15 is for emergencies. We have really good inertial dampeners, so the crew doesn't feel it too much." Thal was silent for a long moment. In its 200 years as an inspector, it had never seen anything like this. Most council ships could barely manage 3 or 4 gravities. This human vessel could move like a fighter craft, even though it was the size of a cargo hauler. "Let me see your safety systems," Thal said quietly. Marcus showed Thal the backup systems. There were backups for the important things like life support and navigation, but compared to council ships, there weren't many. "Where are the tertiary redundancies?" Thal asked. "The what?" "The 3rd level of backup systems. Most council vessels have primary systems, secondary backups, and tertiary emergency backups." Marcus scratched his head. "We have primary and secondary. If both of those fail, we have emergency protocols." Seemed like enough to us. Thal's light flickered orange again. "You only have 2 levels of redundancy?" "Well, yeah. Adding more backup systems makes the ship heavier and slower. We calculated the risk and decided 2 levels was acceptable." There was that word. Again, acceptable. Thal was learning that humans had a very different idea of what was acceptable than the rest of the galaxy. The inspection continued. Each new system made Thal more concerned. The reactor was the worst part. Thal took one look at the specifications and its light turned bright red. "This reactor operates at temperatures exceeding 50 million degrees, Thal said. "The pressure inside is—" "Yeah, it runs pretty hot," Marcus agreed. "But the containment field is solid. We've run it through thousands of test cycles." "If the containment field fails," Thal said carefully, "what would happen?" Marcus thought for a moment. "Well, the reactor would explode. The blast would probably vaporize everything within about 50 kilometers, maybe more depending on how much fuel was in the system. Thal's entire body flashed red 3 times. This was the crystalline equivalent of screaming. "You built a bomb," Thal said. "No, we built a reactor," Marcus corrected. "It only becomes a bomb if something goes really wrong, and we have lots of safety measures to prevent that." 2 levels of redundancy, Thal said weakly. Right. Thal spent 2 more hours inspecting the ship. Every system was the same story. Humans had built everything to be efficient and powerful. Safety was considered, but it wasn't the top priority. Speed was, power was, capability was. The fusion drives could be used as weapons if pointed at a planet. The reactor could level a city if it exploded. The ship could ram another vessel at speeds that would destroy both completely. Every single system on the human ship was dangerous in a way that Council ships never were. But the humans didn't seem to realize this. They thought they were being safe. They thought their ship was normal. Thal finished the inspection and returned to the Council headquarters. It went straight to Admiral Rintar, the head of the Council Defense Fleet. Rintar was a large reptilian alien with green scales and sharp eyes. "Admiral," Thal said, its light still flickering orange with worry. "We have a problem." Rintar listened to Thal's report. When it was finished, the Admiral sat back in his chair. "Let me understand this correctly," Rintar said. "Every human exploration vessel has the speed of a military interceptor, the power output of a battleship, and carries what is essentially a massive bomb as its power source?" "Yes, Admiral. And they built these for civilian use. They call them exploration vessels and cargo haulers," Thal confirmed. Rintar was quiet for a long time. Finally, he spoke. "They built warships and called them cargo haulers. I don't believe the humans see them as warships," Thal said. "To them, this is just how you build a ship. Fast and efficient." Rintar pulled up files on his computer. He looked at reports about humanity. They were a young species, new to space travel. They seemed friendly and curious. There was no evidence they were planning for war. "Are they naturally aggressive?" Rintar wondered aloud. "I don't think so," Thal replied. "I think they are naturally reckless. They push boundaries. They take risks. They build their technology to the very edge of what is possible and then push a little further." Rintar considered this. It was a problem, but maybe not a threat. Humans didn't seem hostile. They just seemed different. "We will monitor them closely," Rintar decided. "But we won't restrict them yet. Let's see what they do with these vessels. Maybe we're worried about nothing." "Maybe," Thal said, but its light remained orange with doubt. That meeting happened 6 weeks ago. Now human ships were starting to travel through Council space. The word was spreading among the other species. There was something different about human vessels, something that made them powerful and dangerous and strange. The galaxy was starting to notice humanity, and not everyone was happy about it. The distress signal came through in the middle of the night, station time. Captain Sarah Chen was in her quarters on the Indomitable, still docked at Viridian 7. The alert woke her instantly. She ran to the bridge in her uniform, barely taking time to smooth down her hair. Her crew was already there, looking worried. "What's happening?" Chen demanded. "Distress call from the Gentle Current," her communications officer said. "It's a passenger transport. 600 civilians on board. They're under attack by pirates in the Helios shipping lanes." Chen felt her stomach tighten. "Where are they?" "About 200 million kilometers from here." "What's their status?" "Life support is failing. The pirates damaged their main systems. They have maybe 2 hours of air left, probably less." Chen immediately opened a channel to the station. "Viridian 7, this is Captain Chen. We've received the distress call." "Where's the Council Defense Fleet?" Station Commander Zephyros appeared on the screen. The bird-like alien looked sad and tired. "Captain Chen, the nearest defense fleet is 6 hours away. I'm afraid there's nothing we can do. We're preparing memorial services for the passengers." Chen stared at the screen. "Memorial services? They're not dead yet." "They will be before help can arrive," Zephyros said gently. "It's a tragedy, but these things happen. The pirates know exactly how far they can get before our ships arrive. We can help them," Chen said. Zephyros's feathers ruffled in confusion. "Captain, did you not hear me? They are 200 million kilometers away. No ship can reach them in time." "We can," Chen said firmly. "We can be there in 47 minutes. There was complete silence on the station's command center. Chen could see other aliens in the background all staring at their screens in shock. "That's impossible," Zephyros whispered. "Watch us," Chen replied. She cut the connection and turned to her crew. "Everyone to stations. We're launching in 5 minutes. Navigation, plot the fastest course to those coordinates."
"Engineering, I need maximum thrust. Aye, Captain."
Her crew responded. Marcus Webb's voice came through from engineering. "Captain, if we push the engines that hard, we're going to pull at least 12 Gs. "I know. Everyone strap in tight. Engage inertial dampeners to maximum." The Indomitable undocked from the station quickly. On Viridian 7, hundreds of aliens stopped what they were doing to watch. They couldn't believe what they were seeing. The human ship's engines flared bright blue. Then it moved. Council ships accelerated slowly and carefully. They took their time because sudden acceleration could damage cargo or hurt passengers. The Indomitable didn't accelerate slowly. It leaped forward like a hunting animal. 12 Gs and climbing, the navigator reported. "Dampeners holding steady." Chen felt the pressure push her back into her chair. Even with the dampeners, she could feel the force. It was like having someone standing on her chest. But it was bearable. Humans had built their ships to handle this. They had trained to handle this. On the station, Zephyros watched in amazement. The human ship moved across the sensor displays faster than anything he had ever seen. It accelerated like a missile, not like a ship. "Get me Admiral Rintar," Zephyros ordered. "He needs to see this." 47 minutes later, exactly as Captain Chen had promised, the Indomitable dropped out of high speed near the gentle current. The passenger ship was badly damaged. 8 pirate vessels surrounded it like sharks around wounded prey. "Scan the pirate ships," Chen ordered. "They're old military surplus," her weapons officer reported. "Lightly armed. Their engines are outdated." The pirates noticed the Indomitable's arrival. They tried to run, but their ships were slow compared to the human vessel. The Indomitable moved between them in empty space, cutting off their escape. Chen opened a channel to the pirates. "This is Captain Sarah Chen of the Earth vessel Indomitable. You are ordered to stand down immediately and prepare to be taken into custody." The pirate leader's face appeared on screen. He was a reptilian alien with scars across his face. "You're just one ship. We are 8. Leave now or we'll destroy you too." Chen smiled, but it wasn't a friendly smile. "You're welcome to try," she nodded to Marcus. Down in engineering, he pushed the reactor output up to maximum. Not because they needed to use it, but because Chen wanted the pirates to see it. The Indomitable's power signature blazed across every sensor in the area. To the pirates, it looked like a weapon charging up. It looked like a ship preparing to fire something massive and deadly. The pirates knew the signatures of Council ships. They knew what normal power levels looked like. This wasn't normal. This was something completely different. This was a human ship, and the pirates suddenly understood what that meant. "We surrender," the pirate leader shouted. "Don't fire. We surrender." Chen kept her smile. "Shut down your engines and prepare to be boarded." The pirates complied immediately. They were criminals, but they weren't stupid. With the pirates neutralized, Chen moved the Indomitable next to the gentle current. Her crew helped transfer the passengers. The aliens who came aboard were terrified. They had heard rumors about human ships. Now they were standing inside one, but they were alive. That was what mattered. Another human ship arrived 20 minutes later. It was called the Prairie Wind, a cargo hauler captained by a man named Voss. "Sorry we're late," Captain Voss said cheerfully over the comm. "We were 300 million kilometers out when we got the call. Took us a bit longer to get here." Chen shook her head in amazement. "You came from 300 million kilometers away?" "Yeah. Heard you needed help with passengers. We can take about 800 people if we squeeze them in." The alien passengers couldn't believe it. A cargo ship. A human cargo ship had just traveled 300 million kilometers faster than any Council military vessel could. What were these humans? Back on Viridian 7, Admiral Rintar watched the recordings of the rescue. He watched the Indomitable cross 200 million kilometers in less than an hour. He watched it outmaneuver 8 pirate ships without firing a single shot. He watched a civilian cargo hauler arrive almost as fast. Ambassador Krelak stood beside him. "Now do you see?" Krelak asked quietly. "Now do you understand what I meant?" "Yes," Rintar said, "I see. Every human civilian vessel moves faster than our military ships. They can reach disasters before we can. They can respond to threats before we even know about them." "Is that a problem?" Krelak asked. Rintar was quiet for a long moment. I don't know yet. But one thing is certain. The galaxy is never going to be the same now that humans are here. On the Indomitable, Captain Chen made sure all 600 passengers were safe and comfortable. They looked at her with wide eyes, still frightened, still uncertain. You're safe now, Chen told them gently. We'll get you home. One of the passengers, a small alien with purple fur, spoke up. Why did you come? Your ship isn't military. You could have stayed away, Chen smiled. Because you needed help. That's reason enough. The passenger didn't understand. In Council space, civilians didn't rush into danger. They waited for the proper authorities. They followed procedures. But humans were different. Their ships were different. And the galaxy was starting to learn just how different they really were. The news spread across the galaxy like fire. Within days, every species in the Council knew about the rescue of the Gentle Current. They knew about the human ship that crossed impossible distances in impossible time. They knew about the cargo hauler that outran military vessels. The galaxy was talking about humanity. On the news networks that connected thousands of worlds, analysts and experts debated what it all meant. Some were amazed. Some were worried. Some were afraid. Ambassador Krelax watched one such program in his quarters. 3 experts sat around a table arguing. We should celebrate this, said one expert, a blob-like creature that spoke through vibrations. 600 lives were saved because humans could respond quickly. This is good for everyone, but at what cost? Demanded another expert. This one, tall and thin with multiple eyes. Human ships are dangerous. They move at speeds that could cause catastrophic accidents. What if one loses control near a populated area? They haven't lost control, the first expert argued. They seem to know what they're doing. Yet, the third expert said darkly. This one was heavily armored with thick shell plating. They haven't lost control yet. But with such reckless designs, it's only a matter of time. Krelax turned off the program with a sigh. The ambassador had spent the last few weeks trying to understand humans better. It wasn't easy. They were so different from every other species. A message came through. It was from Dr. Yuki Tanaka, a human xeno-engineer working at the human embassy. She wanted to speak with Krelax about the recent controversy. They met in a quiet garden on the embassy grounds. Dr. Tanaka was a small woman with gray hair and kind eyes. She bowed slightly when she saw Krelax. Thank you for meeting with me, Ambassador, she said. Of course, Doctor. I wanted to speak with you as well. The galaxy is very concerned about human vessels. Dr. Tanaka nodded. I've been watching the news. I understand their concern, but I think there's been a misunderstanding about how we build ships. Please explain, Krelax said, sitting down on a bench designed for multiple body types. The Council species build ships for safety first, Dr. Tanaka began. Maximum redundancy, slow acceleration, thick shielding, everything designed to prevent accidents. Yes, this is the correct way. It's a way, Dr. Tanaka corrected gently. But humans learn to build ships differently. We calculate acceptable risk and then we push past it. Krelax's antennae twitched with confusion. You deliberately exceed safe parameters? No, we expand the parameters. It's a different approach. We ask ourselves, what's the maximum speed we can achieve while still maintaining control? What's the most power we can generate while keeping it contained? We test things thoroughly, but we don't let fear hold us back. But why? Krelax asked. Why take such risks? Dr. Tanaka looked up at the sky. Because Earth is a dangerous place. We have storms and earthquakes and volcanoes. We learned early that sometimes you need to move fast to survive. Sometimes you need power to overcome obstacles. Sometimes playing it safe means you don't make it at all. She pulled out a tablet and showed Krelax some information. Look at Earth's history. We had a period called the Age of Exploration. Humans got on wooden ships and sailed across huge oceans. Many died. But those who succeeded discovered new lands and new possibilities. We've always been like that. We explore, we risk, we push forward. Krelax studied the information carefully. Your species has only been in space for about 200 years. Most Council species took thousands of years to reach the same level of technology. Because we had to move fast, Dr. Tanaka explained. Our sun won't last forever. Our planet has limited resources. We knew we needed to get to space quickly or we might not make it at all. So we pushed hard. We took risks. Yes, we lost people. Yes, we had accidents. But we learned from them and kept going. The Council would have stopped after the first accident, Krelax said quietly. We did stop, actually. 10,000 years ago, we had a disaster. An experimental drive exploded and destroyed 3 colony worlds. After that, we made safety our absolute priority. And you stopped advancing, Dr. Tanaka said gently. Krelax couldn't deny it. Everyone knew the Council's technology had barely changed in thousands of years. Ships got a little bigger, a little more comfortable, but not fundamentally different. Not faster, not more powerful, safe but stagnant. Elsewhere in the galaxy, others were having different conversations. Fleet Commander Salkvan gathered a group of military leaders in a secure location. Salkvan was from a warrior species, tall and muscular with natural armor plating. You've all seen the reports, Salkvan said. Human civilian vessels outperform our military ships. This is unacceptable. What do you propose? Asked one of the other commanders. We must restrict human ship designs. They're too dangerous, too powerful. Every human cargo hauler is essentially a weapon. But they haven't attacked anyone, another commander pointed out. They use their capabilities to save lives. This time, Salkvan growled. What about next time? What if humans decide they want to expand their territory? What if they decide they don't need the Council's permission anymore? We can't stop them. Our ships are too slow. The room fell silent. It was true. In a direct confrontation, human ships would have enormous advantages.
Speed, power, maneuverability.
Council military vessels were designed for patrols and peacekeeping, not real combat. There hadn't been a real war in thousands of years. We need to bring this to the High Council, Salkvan declared. We need restrictions on human technology before it's too late. The debate spread to the highest levels of Council government. The High Council assembled to discuss the human problem. Representatives from dozens of species gathered in the Great Chamber on the capital world. Some argued for restrictions. Some argued for cooperation. Some argued for simply watching and waiting. Ambassador Krelax was invited to speak. The ambassador stood before the assembled leaders and shared what had been learned about humanity. They are not warriors, Krelax said. They are explorers. They are problem solvers. Yes, their technology is powerful. Yes, their ships are fast. But they build these things to survive and help others, not to conquer. How can you be certain? Demanded Salkvan. I can't be completely certain, Krelax admitted, but I have spent time with them. I have spoken with their engineers and their diplomats. They are genuinely confused by our fear. To them, their ships are normal. They don't understand why we find them frightening. That ignorance itself is dangerous, Salkvan argued. Perhaps, Krelax said. Or perhaps it shows that they have no hostile intent. If they wanted to threaten us, they would understand our fear and exploit it. Instead, they're trying to figure out what they did wrong. The High Arbiter, a very old and wise leader named Zenmoth, listened to all the arguments. Finally, the ancient being spoke. I have been alive for a very long time, Zenmoth said. I remember when we took risks. When we explored aggressively. When we pushed our technology to new limits. Then came the great disaster and we became afraid. We chose safety over progress. The chamber was silent. Perhaps that was wise, Zenmoth continued. We saved ourselves from destruction, but did we also doom ourselves to stagnation? The humans have reminded us of something we forgot. The universe rewards those who are brave enough to push forward. What are you saying? Salkvan demanded. I am saying that we should not restrict the humans. We should learn from them. Not their technology, but their philosophy. The courage to take calculated risks. The will to push boundaries. These are things we once had and lost. The debate continued for many hours, but slowly opinion began to shift. Maybe humans weren't a threat. Maybe they were an opportunity to remember what it meant to truly explore the stars. 3 months after the rescue of the Gentle Current, the Grand Assembly of the Galactic Council met for a historic session. Representatives from every member species filled the enormous chamber. At the center stood Captain Sarah Chen, now promoted to Admiral after her successful rescue mission. She wore her formal uniform and tried not to look nervous. Behind her sat Ambassador Krelax and Dr. Yuki Tanaka. They were there to support her. Fleet Commander Salkvan stood on the other side of the chamber. He had spent the last 3 months building support for restrictions on human ship designs. Today would decide the issue. High Arbiter Zenmoth called the assembly to order. The ancient being's voice was soft, but everyone listened carefully. We are here to address the matter of human vessels, Zenmoth said. Commander Salkvan, present your case. Salkvan stepped forward. Thank you, High Arbiter. My position is simple. Human ships are too powerful, too fast, too dangerous. Every civilian vessel they build has the capability to defeat our military ships in combat. This is an unacceptable security risk. He brought up holographic displays showing human ship specifications compared to Council vessels. The differences were dramatic. Human ships were faster in every category, more powerful, more maneuverable. If humans decided to become hostile, Salkvan continued, we could not stop them. Our entire defense fleet would be obsolete. I propose that we require humans to adopt Council standard ship designs. Slower acceleration. Lower power output. More redundant safety systems. Murmurs spread through the chamber. Many representatives nodded in agreement. Admiral Chen, Zenmoth said. You may respond. Sarah Chen took a deep breath and stepped forward. She had practiced this speech many times, but now that the moment was here, her heart was pounding. High Arbiter honored representatives, she began. I understand Commander Salkvan's concerns. Our ships are fast. They are powerful. But we didn't build them as weapons. We built them as vessels that can respond to emergencies and save lives. She gestured to the holographic display. 3 months ago, 600 people were dying in space. Your defense fleet was 6 hours away. We got there in 47 minutes. Those people are alive today because human ships are fast. But what about tomorrow? Salkvan interrupted. What happens when you decide you don't need the Council anymore? When you decide to take what you want? Chen looked directly at Salkvan. Commander, if we wanted to be conquerors, we would understand your fear and use it against you. Instead, we're confused by it. We keep asking ourselves what we did wrong. Does that sound like a species planning to attack you? It sounds like a species that doesn't understand how dangerous it is, Salkvan replied. No, Chen said firmly. It sounds like a species that has a different relationship with risk than you do. We don't build weapons and call them civilian ships. We build the best ships we can and trust ourselves to use them responsibly. She turned to address the full assembly. I've learned a lot in the past few months. I've learned that Council species prioritize safety above almost everything else. That's because of the great disaster 10,000 years ago. You lost 3 colonies and decided to never take risks like that again. I understand that decision. But I also see the cost. Chen pulled up her own holographic displays. Your technology hasn't significantly advanced in 10,000 years. Your ships are safer, yes, but they're not better. You've chosen to stay in place rather than risk moving forward. That's not true, one representative protested. We've made many improvements. Incremental ones, Chen acknowledged. But nothing revolutionary. Nothing that changes the game. You're stuck, and you've been stuck for millennia. Because you're too afraid to take chances. The chamber erupted in angry voices. Chen waited for them to quiet down. I'm not saying this to insult you, she continued. I'm saying it because I think we can help each other. You can teach us to be more careful, more thorough in our safety considerations, and maybe we can teach you that it's okay to push boundaries again. That calculated risk isn't the same as recklessness. High Arbiter Zenmoth raised a hand for silence. The ancient being looked at Chen with eyes that had seen thousands of years of history. Tell me, Admiral Chen, Zenmoth said, what would you propose? Chen had thought about this carefully. A joint venture. Human engineers working with Council engineers, not to copy our technology, but to share our philosophy, show you how we calculate risk, how we test our limits, how we build ships that are both powerful and controlled. And in return, Zenmoth asked, you show us your safety protocols, your redundancy systems, your careful approach to testing. We learn from each other. Maybe together we can build something better than either of us could alone. Salkvan stepped forward. This still doesn't address my concern. Human ships are still more powerful than our military vessels. Yes, Chen agreed. They are. And they will remain so unless you start building better ships yourselves. You can restrict us, force us to slow down to your level, or you can rise up to meet us. Your choice. The chamber fell silent. It was a bold statement, almost a challenge. But it was also the truth. High Arbiter Zenmoth considered for a long moment. Then the ancient being spoke. I would like to share something with you all. I was alive during the great disaster. I saw the colonies burn. I voted with the others to prioritize safety above all else. At the time it seemed like the only choice. Zenmoth paused, and when the being spoke again there was regret in the voice. But I have watched for 10,000 years as we became stagnant. As our civilization stopped growing, we told ourselves we were being wise, being careful, but perhaps we were just being afraid. The humans have reminded us of something important. The universe doesn't reward caution. It rewards courage. The High Arbiter looked directly at Salkvan. Commander, your concerns are noted, but I believe restricting humanity would be a mistake. Instead, I propose we accept Admiral Chen's offer. Let us learn from each other. The vote was called. It took hours of debate, but eventually the motion passed. Humans would not be restricted. Instead, there would be a joint engineering program, a cultural exchange, a new era of cooperation. 6 months later, the first joint venture shipyard opened in orbit around a neutral world. Lieutenant Maria Santos, a young human engineer, worked alongside Ambassador Krelax on the design team. What do you think? Maria asked, showing Krelax the latest design specs. It has council-level redundancy systems, but with human-style engines. Krelax studied the plans carefully. It's not as fast as a purely human design. No, but it's 3 times faster than a purely council design. And it's safer than our current ships. It's a compromise. A good compromise, Krelax agreed. The first hybrid vessel launched 3 months later. It was called the New Dawn, and it represented something important. It was proof that different species could learn from each other. That fear could be overcome with understanding. Admiral Chen was invited to the launch ceremony. She watched the New Dawn's engines flare to life and felt a sense of pride. Not because the ship used human technology, but because it represented cooperation. After the ceremony, Krelax found Chen on the observation deck. I owe you an apology, the ambassador said. When you first arrived at Viridian 7, I was afraid of you. Afraid of your ships, and now? Chen asked. Now I understand. You don't build vessels to conquer. You build them to survive, to save, to reach places others can't, Chen smiled. We build them to explore. That's what humanity has always done. We look at the horizon and we want to see what's beyond it. The Council forgot how to do that, Krelax said quietly. We chose safety and comfort over discovery and growth. But maybe that's changing now. Below them, more hybrid vessels were under construction, Council engineers working alongside human ones. Sharing knowledge, sharing perspectives, building something new together. I think the galaxy is about to get a lot more interesting, Chen said. Krelax's antennae twitched with what might have been amusement. The first time I met you, I sent a message to the Council. I said you didn't understand what you had built. What would you say now? I would say that we didn't understand what you had built. Not just ships, but a philosophy, a way of thinking. And perhaps that's what the galaxy needed, a reminder that safety without courage is just another kind of cage. They stood together in comfortable silence, watching the ships being built below. Human ambition combined with council wisdom, speed balanced with safety, power tempered with responsibility. The galaxy was changing. Not quickly, perhaps. The council had been stagnant for 10,000 years, and that wouldn't be fixed overnight. But it was a start, and sometimes, Chen thought, that's all you need. A start, a single step forward into the unknown. That's what humanity had always been good at, taking that first step even when it was frightening, even when the safe choice was to stay still. They were explorers, dreamers, risk-takers, and now, finally, the rest of the galaxy was ready to start exploring again too. Below them, the New Dawn finished its checks and began to move. Its engines burned bright, pushing it forward faster than any council ship had moved in centuries. But it moved with control, with purpose, with the wisdom of both species guiding it. Chen watched it go and smiled. The future was going to be amazing.